Welcome to another DuckTales 2017 review. I'm John Berry, and today I'm reviewing DuckTales, Storkules in Duckburg, the 5th episode of the 2nd season. So to begin with, before I get into my review, I do want to apologize for this review being about a week late. It's essentially later than I intended. As of the recording of this video, it's probably even later for you watching it, as I try to maintain a semi-consistent release schedule. But moving away from that, this video, in the interest of saving time, has been unscripted, therefore I've written no script for it. So to my Patreon supporters, I apologize for another video not having the script available on Patreon. I do apologize for that, but in the interest of saving time, as final exams are nearing, I figured be good just to watch the episode and review it and get it out quicker. And in honesty, scripts do take up time because I have to type them, and I type slower than I speak. I think most of us do, but there could be a few exceptions. But nevertheless, let's actually get into the review. But before I do that, if you find yourself enjoying this review at any time, please leave a like. Also, to stay up to date on all my non-YouTube stuff, consider following me on Twitter or Facebook. You can also check out my website. Links are in the description. My question for you today is, what did you think of DuckTales, Storkules in Duckburg? Let me know your answers in the comments. Now back to the review as a whole. So, this episode, Storkules is essentially kicked out of his home by his father. I forget. Essentially, the DuckTales universe version of Zeus, and Storkules is their version of Hercules. They're Greek gods, essentially, demigods, whatever you want to call them. But so yeah, so he's kicked out. Apparently for playing some thing. I didn't quite get it. But I liked how it was told via pottery. Fits very much into the Greek theme. And he goes to, and Donna decides to rent out an extra room. That's is revealed to the audience first, and then we find out that Storkules is going to be that roommate, which Donna doesn't know himself. And of course there's a couple of shenanigans and all of that. But eventually, Donna tells Storkules to get a job so he can pay rent, which just... And Storkules was not prepared that he had to pay rent. He thought friendliness and kindness was enough. Nope. But it ends up, Louis recruits Storkules for a monster extermination business. Or, to be more specific, Harpies. Or Harpies Be Gone, as Louis dubs the company. And here we see the continuation of that Louis Inc. plot that was introduced in a previous episode. And he kind of suckers Webby and Huey into helping him run the company, and Dewey's like not even involved at all. It's kind of funny, and like he doesn't even care that he's not involved, despite being insulted when he said that he wouldn't help or something like that. But he does know on his fake internet late night show that I'm sure very few people watch, brings them on, and it's kind of funny. In the scene, like, quick company meeting in 10 seconds, walks out of frame, and says, oh man, they're gonna have to run quickly. But Huey, Webby, and Storkules wait. Storkules actually gets out a sundial that he has on his wrist, waits 10 seconds, they calmly walk over out as the camera pans. It's all in the same room, which I just enjoyed immensely. Just kind of good. Like, you think, oh, they're gonna have to go somewhere. Nope, not at all. Which is just awesome, really, how that's done. And there's a lot more in here as well. Louis learned some good lessons about running a business. How you don't want to select a problem that you can solve in the short term, but it's never going to properly go away. But you don't want to do something where there's essentially you don't want, if for a business that you solve a problem, you don't want to solve a what's the word I'm looking for? A finite problem. No, eliminating an X amount of monsters is a whole lot different than eliminating rodents. There's just a huge difference in population size, and, well, mice are more likely to reproduce quicker than with harpies, which appear to be all one gender, based off how they're portrayed. But there's a lot going on. But we get to really learn more about the business world. So, and then of course, and then there's just so many other funny things in there. And like Scrooge is gone for most of this episode, so he has no idea what's going on. But at the end, he gets home from Cape Suzette on the business interest, and on an idea of opening up a lemonade stand since Louis wasn't, which I thought was funny. And goes to Cape Suzette, so only made one single can of lemonade because he can't figure out how to transport it. Right? It sounds like more transport it so it's as fresh as possible when it's sold. That seems like, which actually was good marketing, but no. Louis essentially figures out the solution when he realizes that the harpies love lemons and lemonade, which Webby actually figured out first, but and actually managed to convince everyone else that at the end of this episode. I know I'm spoiling it, but I think it really connects well with Louis' character development in this episode. He's becoming more three-dimensional, more than just the lazy get-rich-quick one. We're seeing that he's realizing that there's more involved, and they get the harpies to deliver the lemons, and they're paid in lemons and lemonade, what they love most, which is what harpies take, what other people love the most. But what they love the most apparently are lemons and lemonade. But they still have the problem of harpies stealing it. Well, they didn't suggest a solution, but I have an idea. Why not make a specific variant of the lemonade that the harpies will like even more, but that they themselves can't produce? That would actually be a good way. But it's and then they transport the lemons from Cape Suzette to Duckburg. Not sure how far it is, but it's just kind of funny, like how Scrooge is like, and it costs a low, no emissions, which is kind of like, that pro-green thing. It's like, yeah, that is a problem in society. We need to be able to lessen our dependence on fossil fuels because they are limited. I don't care what you say about global warming. Fossil fuels are limited. That's the entire point of them. So, they're going to run out eventually. So, might as well, on the sooner side, find a solution to that problem. And in the same time, more environmentally friendly is always a good thing, too. But it's kind of neat how the episode all kind of wraps everything up at the end. All the plots. Sometimes the episodes don't always wrap up every plot together. Most of the time they do, but every now and then you feel like you got one or two plots hanging. In the previous episode, kind of the plot that dealt more with the pick or didn't happen culture, while it ended at the same time as the main plot, and its end was corresponding and related to the end of the main plot. It did not wrap into the conclusion. This episode did that, and I really like when the A, the B, and even the C plot, and potentially a D plot if we get that ambitious, all wrap up together at the very end. This episode pretty much only has two plots, two main plots, but there's a third one. The first one, of course, is Storkules rooming with Donald. The second one is Storkules finding a job, and actually maybe full total when you think about it, because then you got Louis' subplot and him learning to be a businessman, and then you get Scrooge's plot, which we don't see on screen, but it's done very simply. But I just kind of, that's something kind of neat to notice and all that. Before I continue further into my review, this video is helped made possible by my patrons on Patreon. Patreon is a platform that allows my fans to directly support myself on Patreon. You can support any of your favorite creators, in fact. By supporting me on Patreon for as low as $1 a month, not only are you supporting me and allowing me to create new and better content, but you will also get access to my scripts, my bloopers, and any other cut content from my channel, as well as additional rewards at higher tiers. Now back to the content as a whole. Back to the main content, I should say. So yeah, there's not a whole lot more I do want to discuss in this episode, but but it does show much, and I gotta say, it wasn't interesting. I saw the title, I'm like, this could be a bit cheesy. Yeah, at times it was, but at times there wasn't some good character development across the board, really. Louis we see, I think, the most, but Storkules, we get to see he's learning more and more about being responsible, which is essentially why he was kicked out of his home by his father, because he needs to learn responsibility. So it's kind of, we see that not fully, maybe future episodes will develop it. I don't know how I feel about Storkules as a character as a whole. I feel like he's a bit over the top. A lot of the characters in DuckTales can be a bit over the top. Glomgold is. Scrooge is naturally over the top. Maybe the triplets and Webby are a bit over the top, but in comparison to the previous characters, maybe not. Webby might be a little bit more over the top than the triplets, but they are definitely more presence causing. I don't know, they're a bit more there than they were previously, or a lot more I should say, but I don't feel like they're overbearing. None of the characters, even the over the top characters, feel overbearing. But Storkules at times feels overbearing. And that kind of, I don't care for an overbearing character. Over the top, yes. Overbearing, no. And overbearing, I feel like when they're on screen, they dominate the screen, even if they're not the focus of attention. And that could be kind of on purpose. Storkules is a bit childish and his behavior has no responsibility, so maybe that'll get toned down if they decide to continue his plot, which there is some chance for, since Don's gonna help him find an apartment in Duckburg. So maybe we'll get to see Storkules learning to be more and more responsible. Maybe his over-top behavior might settle down, but mostly his overbearingness might reduce, which I think would be some good character development and might be neat. I also want to get in how the Hoppies were taking what people loved the most, and a lot of things, something like your bigger boys, what they just stole, Fenton's mother capturing the bigger boys for stealing. That was a scene all connected together. Some things, like small, like toys, and there's a whole bunch of things. But what I like the most is when Glomgold, they take him, because what does Glomgold love the most? Himself. Not his money, apparently, but himself. Which is actually kind of interesting. Might play into what we learned at the end of not the previous episode, but the one before that, the battle at the Duke Baloney in the contest between Scrooge and Glomgold. And maybe Scrooge will win by Glomgold essentially giving up to save his own life in a situation totally out of all their control. Who knows? But that would be kind of interesting to see how that plays out and if it comes back. There's really a lot else in this episode I could talk about, and really probably should talk about for a good fleshed out review. I feel like there was something else very specifically. We have no idea what they would have taken from Scrooge, though. His money bin? I don't know. His hat? His cane? His family? His money? It's hard to say what Scrooge cares for the most. It clearly used to be, I think, adventure more than anything. His values? Maybe his values he loves the most. It's hard to say what Scrooge. Scrooge may value his money, but I think he values how he got his money more than his money itself. And can you take somebody's values? You can destroy them, I guess. You can undermine them, but can you steal them physically? No. And I think that's probably why they decided Scrooge was going to be off for most of this episode, because they knew it would put them in a predicament to decide what to take from him. Glomgold's kind of easier. He's very self-interested, so himself. And there's some other ones. But I do want to say, when I was watching this episode, I got very much a vibe of the episode where Mark Beeks was essentially hijacked Gizmo Duck, put a controlling device on the suit, and only allow paying customers to get saved by Gizmo Duck. That's what Louis essentially forced Storkules to do here, but without that. Because the only time we see that is with Glomgold. So, whereas Louis has Storkules not save what the person loved the most. And only because Glomgold refused to pay. But I have a feeling Louis did some discriminatory pricing. I bet Flintock Glomgold and Mark Beats got charged higher rates than normal. Mark Beats got charged at 500 because we actually saw that check. And yes, his phone was taken. But But I did I did see that parallel there, and I was like, Louis needs to learn not to be a businessman like Mark Beats, and maybe to be more like one like Scrooge McDuck. And I think, and I think that's what his character development will be: learning how to be a good businessman who's not so self-interested in his own world. Definitely some self-interest, but not blind to what's going on, and knows how to run a business smartly and wisely. I think that's where Louis' plot is going. And with that, I think I'm going to conclude this review. So thank you for watching this latest video. New videos of mine come out every week, so consider subscribing and turning on notifications to be notified of when I release brand new content. Feel free to check out the video or the playlist on screen now. Lastly, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. Have a good one.